Hey guys, Wes here. So this week I'm going to be doing another care guide. Since I enjoyed doing the beta care guide, my beta tank's over there, I'm pointing to it, I decided to do one for my angelfish. He is over here. That seems to be his favorite spot in the tank, probably because the Amazon sword gives a lot of cover. He probably feels safe over there. So this is going to be an all-encompassing care guide, just like the beta. I should stop pointing that way because there's nothing over there. It's going to include everything basically that you need to know that I've used as my resources for information, except for breeding. I'm not going to cover anything about breeding because I only have one angelfish. Obviously you cannot breed angelfish with just one. I'm not interested in breeding my angelfish. I just enjoy him as a centerpiece. My first topic is going to be about the background and kind of the origin. I have notes here if you're wondering why I keep looking down. So the scientific name of the common angelfish is, I believe this is how you pronounce it, Pterophyllum scalare. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'll write that down here. They're found in the Amazon region in rivers and tributaries. Waters with a lot of like roots, vertical roots, going down into the water where they kind of swim through and hide in. And the wild caught kind of the best angelfish is the Pterophyllum altum angel. They're known as the altum angel as a common name. They're a disc shape. Their body is kind of circular and their fins extend out. They're mostly all captive bred, and there's lots of different varieties. There's silver angelfish, zebra, platinum, marble, veil-tail, blushing, gold angelfish, and koi angelfish. There's also black bar angelfish that just have vertical black stripes. Here is 6 of those examples. Angelfish get to be about 6 to 8 inches from the top of their top fin to the bottom of their bottom fin, not including the little tendrils, I guess you could call them. And the body usually gets to be like 1.5 to 2 inches across. My angelfish is probably, I would say he's probably about 6 inches top to bottom if his fins are extended, and his body is probably 1.25 to 1.5 inches. So he's fairly big. He's still going to grow a little bit more. He's a marble angelfish as well, half blue marble angelfish. My next topic is going to be tank size. The minimum tank size you want if you're going to have a breeding pair would be a 20-gallon tall. That's bare minimum if you're just in it for breeding. The minimum I would recommend for a community is what I have, is a 29-gallon. I have an angelfish. A nice school, I guess you would say nice. It's like, I think it's 8 Harlequin Rasporas, some Ottos, some Cories, and a Pisto, and a snail. That's what I have personally. But if you have a 29-gallon, you could definitely have an angelfish, a school of some sort of tetra, and some Cories, of course. If you want to have multiple angels, you have to have a lot of angels for them to get along. Like I said, they'll eventually pair off and get aggressive, but if you want to have multiple angels in a community, I would recommend at least a 55-gallon for sure. So next, I'm going to talk about filtration. They need nice, efficient filtration. Like I said in the beta video, I recommend a dedicated biological media like ceramic rings, which is what I have in my AquaClears. I have 2 AquaClear 50s. That is 400 gallons per hour on a basically 30-gallon tank, and that's very efficient filtration. They don't mind a lot of water flow. I would say I have quite a bit because I have the two AquaClears and the Eheim Skim. A lot of people like to use canister filters. That's good as well. You only need 5 to 6 times your tank's capacity in gallons per hour. So I have a 29-gallon. That's basically a 30-gallon. So I would need for a hang-on back, that's 300 gallons per hour, and I have 400, so I'm set on filtration. My next subject is going to be tank decor. Angels, like I said, come from the Amazon region in very dense vegetation, so they appreciate lots of decor, whether it's plastic plants or live plants like I have. They like a lot of perimeter cover around the back and sides of the tank, and a nice space in the middle for swimming, obviously. They like taller plants. Like I said, they come from a place where a lot of vertical roots are in the water, so they like to swim in between those. An Amazon sword is a great example of that. He likes to swim in there, and he goes in between the leaves and he hides in that corner. Like I said, that's where his safe spot is. And I also appreciate some dimmed lighting. I don't have any plants on the surface of my aquarium, but duckweed is a great example of a plant to use to dim the light. Or you could have low lighting in general if you're going to have low maintenance plants or plastic plants. My next subject is tank mates. I have my angelfish with Rasporas and Cories, which in most instances, angelfish do great in a community with those types of fish. A lot of tetras work, Cories, like I said, I have some ottos. Ottos can be a little bit small if you first get them with an angelfish. The angelfish might try and go after the ottos a little bit, but my ottos are, they're big enough where they don't fit in the angelfish's mouth. And you also want to have some hiding spots for the ottos so they can get away from the angelfish if it does chase after them. Like I said, they'll eat anything that will fit in their mouth, so I would avoid neon tetras. I know some people have claimed neon tetras work well with angelfish, but if you do try that, I would recommend getting the neon tetras first and letting them grow bigger and introducing the angelfish after, so he knows that that's their tank also, so he doesn't try and nip at him or anything. And if you let the neon tetras grow, then they'll be big enough where they hopefully won't fit in an angelfish's mouth. If you're weary about having neon tetras, you could also go with cardinal tetras. They're bright colored, very similar pattern to a neon tetra, but they grow a little bit larger, about an inch or an inch and a quarter total. So they're a little bit bigger and they won't fit in the angel's mouth. Another fish that I wouldn't recommend is pygmy cories. They stay very, very small. And also galaxy Rasporas are very tiny. So I would avoid those. And any other small fish, if I've missed a few, just use your good judgment and common sense on that. My angelfish, like I said, lives with Rasporas, cories, ottos, a snail, hopefully a few more in the future, and an apisto newly, like you've seen in my second to last video 2 weeks ago, my new fish video. My next subject is going to be water specifications. First, I just want to do a disclaimer. Don't use an angelfish to cycle your tank the way I told you in my cycling video. The way I cycle a tank is with fish and with a bacteria supplement. Angelfish are pretty sensitive to ammonia, so I wouldn't recommend cycling a tank with an angelfish. They're relatively easy to care for. The captive bred angelfish like mine is, they generally accept a much wider range of water parameters, except for Altum angels. The wild caught ones are very specific, and that's why they're only really intended for really experienced fish keepers. The recommended temperature for angelfish is 75 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. My tank is at 75.2. I have an Aquatop heater. The dial on Aquatops isn't as precise, so it's either 76 or it goes all the way up to 82, unfortunately. So mine's at 76. 78 is usually a good general temperature for all tropical fish. With weekly water changes, I would recommend keeping your nitrates under 10 parts per million. Usually the general rule is keeping it under 20 parts per million, but I personally keep it at a 10 or lower. I haven't tested my water in a while, but I can't imagine that they get any higher than that with the plants that I have. And, oh, by the way, I also do 50% water changes weekly. Usually about 25 to 30% is good for just a regularly stocked tank. They appreciate a pH of about 6 to 7.5, pretty much in the neutral area, like you would for most fish. Captive bred angelfish will usually accept a wider range of water parameters, like I said before. My pH is a little bit high here in the Twin Cities area of Minnesota. It stays at about a 7.8 to 8 pH. So I also have driftwood though, which generally will lower the pH a little bit. My next subject is going to be behavior, angelfish behavior. They're usually pretty timid. They don't like a lot of movement or rapid movement or shadows passing along the tank. But they will recognize their owner, or really it's their feeder. Whoever gives them food is obviously the most important person to them, like all fish. He recognizes me when I walk in after school. I feed them. He gets excited that he's going to get some food. My angelfish personally is frightened if I get my hand too close to him. If I'm like trimming a plant or something, he'll kind of freak out and start like swimming really rapidly, and you usually don't want to scare a fish like that because they can bump into something and hurt themselves. I'm not sure if that goes with all angelfish, but really any fish doesn't like having anyone's hand in their tank. My last note about behavior is that they usually are, I wouldn't say super aggressive feeders, but excited feeders. He's always the first one to grab food. He's never chased anyone away when I feed, but he gets, I guess you could say, really excited about food. My next topic is going to be food. Angelfish generally will accept all flake foods. You want to have a good quality food. Like I said in my beta care guide, I personally use Omega Super Color Flakes. I get these at my LFS. It's a really good food. Like I said in my past video, I feed my beta Omega 1 food as well. It's really good, nutritious food made from real seafood and seaweed. I also feed freeze-dried bloodworms from Omega 1 and also Omega 1 First Flakes. This I got from a friend that didn't want it. It's an appetite enhancing formula, and I believe it has a little bit of garlic in it. I'm not quite sure, but like any fish, you want to have a good, varied diet. Tetracolor flakes would be your good food. Omega 1 would be your great, and New Life Spectrum is probably one of the best foods. It's a little more expensive though, unfortunately, so I go with the Omega 1 since I'm just on a part-time job. They also will accept small pellets and frozen foods, like frozen bloodworms, for example. Next, I'm going to talk about an angelfish's lifespan. I saw online on my normal fish profile website that they can live up to 15 years with good care and proper water quality. But I can pretty much guess that he's about 2 years old, assuming that he was about 6 months old when I got him. He was pretty small when I got him, but fish usually take quite a while to grow big. So finally, my last topic is going to be fish disease. Like I've said in many of my previous videos, I have basically no experience with fish diseases. But like any other tropical fish, they're going to be susceptible to ick and flukes and worms and stuff like that. Angelfish are susceptible to ick if the water is stale, if you haven't been doing water changes, if it's poor quality, really high nitrates, obviously if any fish is going to get sick, and if there's not enough oxygenation. So you really want to have good surface agitation. I have my Eheim Skim surface skimmer for when there's any oil slick on the surface. And if there is an outbreak of ick in your tank, you can raise the temperature to 86 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 days, and if that doesn't cure it, you'd have to use a copper treatment. Unfortunately, I can't recommend any products for use because I don't have enough experience with any of that, but that's just the general information that I picked up online. So that's my angelfish care guide. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything I missed, go ahead and put that in the comment section below. Definitely subscribe for more videos like this. Like it if you appreciate these care guides. I know I did one last week as well, but after this I'll probably move back to my normal updates and how-tos. I haven't done a whole lot of how-tos, but I might start doing more. Last time I did one I think was my goldfish feeding peas video. That was a while ago. But yeah, leave any comments in the comment section below if I forgot anything, and I will see you guys next time for another video next week. my pisto. Got that.